Hey folks, welcome to Pro Trader Strategies. This is Spotting the Trade. I'm Eric Wilkinson, and what I like to do in these videos is talk about the economic data, see how that's impacting the overall markets, and then wrap it up with some opportunities I'm trading in my portfolio. So if you want to play along, make sure you guys are smashing that like button throughout this video. If you have anything to take away, it does help us out. Feeds those bots to go out and find somebody else to share this information with. So if you find that helpful, please help us out with that like button. And if you don't want to miss one of these videos when I pop in here unannounced like I'm doing right now, scheduled for 11:30 Eastern, but I wanted to talk about the economic data we got going on and what's going on in my portfolio before we take off here too far. So I wanted to jump in early. Make sure you smash that like button and hit that little bell right next to it. That gives you the indication we're popping in unannounced. And comment if you want me to look at anything, throw it over there. All right, so today is Unenjoyment Friday. What is Unenjoyment Friday? It's the first Friday of the month that we get that unemployment data here in the United States. So let's talk about that. We got the hourly average earnings in line with expectations. I was expecting this to uptick just a bit. We also got the unemployment change, 531 hires, expected to be 455,000 hires, and last month was expected, that was 531,000 hires. I want to make sure I said that. Last month they revised it up quite a bit from 200,000 to 312,000. Remember, last week that number was a pretty big slap in the face, really. So nice revision to the back end there and a nice beat on the front end. So non-farm payroll we saw come in a little bit lower. That is the unemployment rate coming in at 4.6%, expected to be 4.7. Not really surprising when we see those massive beats on those headline numbers. Now let's go over to the, let me make sure that I'm sharing my screen here. Do I have it? Not yet. Let me share my screen here just for a second. Let me get that up. Share. Sorry. Usually have this ready to go. Would you like to share your screen? Of course I do. I'm still trying to. There we go. All right, so let's talk about this. We've got SPY making a move to the upside. All of these economic data points that we got today are pretty good. Even industrial production across the pond came in a little bit better than expected there. Actually, the industrial production was a little bit lower across the pond, but our employment numbers here in Canada and the United States much better there. Industrial production really what was causing the market to come off a little bit this morning. But casinos making a bit of a move here, despite the fact that a lot of them were making, a lot of this reopen trade was not doing very good. Las Vegas Sands, as you can see here, we were talking about this for quite some time. I didn't get my covered calls, it looks like, out on this trade. No, I haven't gotten the covered calls on this Las Vegas Sands. It's really, the theta is crushing right now. All right, so Las Vegas Sands, you guys heard me talking about this for quite some time. We did this and got long this stock with everything going on in and around. I had on some short puts in here, and we got that stock put in our account. I wanted to lighten it up a little bit by selling some outright, so I've been working some orders in there for quite some time now. But what this originally started out with was with the, let me just make sure I'm on this correctly. That's the wrong thing. LVS. I want to, anyway, Las Vegas Sands, what we were doing here was in the, why is this so hard to find there? The October 39 puts in there, originally sold them for 38 cents. You can see that the market did sell off on those 38 puts there. We did it for the earnings trade, or was it the earnings? Why am I so off on this? This is just throwing me here. Selling the calls there. So selling the 39 puts in there gets me long these Las Vegas Sands at 39 because I held on to them. Market ended up coming to me, and I get long at right there at 39. So I'm long in my account at 39. I collected that 38 cents credit. So it lowers my overall break even. I got put that stock right. So I talked about this the last couple of days. I'm looking to get out at 41.61. Well, today we opened up a little bit higher and I got out at 41.70. on the one of the opening prints. You can see I could have done a little bit better by about a full dollar, but I had in that working order to cover that gap. We covered the gap, and you can see it came right off. So had I waited to right now, I could have still filled it just a little bit better, but I wouldn't have gotten that high anyway. A high market. So now what I'm trying to do here is the November, folks, and selling the 46 calls in there. I'm working a 62 unrealistic offer, but that's something that I had in there for a couple of days waiting for an incremental move higher there, and I'd get clipped on those. Obviously, that pricing is way off here now with the theta K and everything else. So I'm going to look to add some covered calls to the remaining balance, or basically half of my remaining balance. I've covered half of my original Las Vegas Sands here. Half the orders covered on the move. Now I'm going to start looking to do covered calls on this trade. The reason why I wanted to cover half of those, I was way overweight in these casinos, especially with Las Vegas Sands being a trade that got put to me. Usually my short strategies are a little bit hefty when I get put those in my portfolio. It's not like half my portfolio, but it's just a little overweighted, and I'd like to pare some of that back, especially when I have the other casino stocks that I'm really worried about today, and that was Penn. If you guys have been under a rock, well, look what happened to Penn. Yesterday was over a 20% correction here in the overmarket. What happened? Well, they had earnings. I was expecting these folks to crush it on earnings. As you can see, estimate versus their actual about 30 cents less than what they were expected. Now, I've been talking these guys up for quite some time. Well, at the same time, I guess Business Insider decided to release a story on David Portnoy and his exploits with girls, I guess, and they tried to find somebody that would talk bad about him, and they did. They found obviously two girls. One girl actually slept on his couch afterwards. So he talked about both the girls. They gave away, he didn't say their names or anything else. He just talked about the situation and how his point of view from that. And really, I think came off very genuine. And I think a lot of people will believe in his story, as you know, he talked very candidly about this girl had come out and they, hooked up and all of those things. So ultimately, I think it was maybe a little bit overdone for this story at this point. So we'll have to see. I'm not going to discount anybody's story at this point. I've heard kind of both sides of the story. It seems believable that if you had a really bad experience with somebody, you probably wouldn't spend the night with them. But hey, that's me. I don't know. Right now, what I'm going to do is look to start selling some covered calls in my Penn trade as well. And I actually pulled that order right before we came on here because I was thinking that this market, I was trying to figure out the pricing on it and looking like the market was going to really pop up to that level. And I didn't really want to see this completely retrace right back to the point of control. I'd like to get the covered calls a little bit above that. And right now for my covered calls, I'm kind of looking at about 75 at best on these trades to get about, 50 to 70 cents is where the market is. So that's kind of where I'm looking to start looking at some more covered calls in Penn. So both these trades that I've got on, a little bit overweight, like I said, in the casino sector, but I've been talking this casino sector up due to the new gambling laws and everything else. So I'm going to stick with this a little bit longer, especially now that I've pared back half of my Las Vegas Sands. All right, that's all I got for you guys. If you got anything to take away from that, please smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell if you guys want to get notification of these spot the trade videos early in the morning. Risk is to the upside now, folks, in equities. I've been worried a little bit about the downside, but I think risk is to the upside right now, at least for today, for sure. I think even the weakness into the close that we might see from some of the institutional folks closing up shop early, I think retailers will be looking at this unemployment number, some of these earnings numbers, and probably come in buying. I want to take advantage of high implied volatility in here in Penn while I can get my chance to sell some covered calls. So it's going to be a game time decision. I might actually even look to As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to look to cover some of these Penn right now for the covered calls. I'm looking at the 75 strike right now, folks. I'm going to try and sell these at around a little bit better than mid market. I'm going to go in right around 68 cents working order right now. Let's fire that bad boy off. Make sure I got my number correctly, and we are good to go. 68 cents is where I'm working it. Come on, show up for me. Give me some love. Didn't I say it? There it is. All right, we're in the market trying to do some covered calls in my Penn trade. All right, looking to get in there at that level, just covering in my IRA right now. All right, that's all I got for you folks. Other than if you can't take that, take it easy.